I want you all to close your eyes. Or if you don't want to close your eyes, at least be open to the idea that people might find it meditative. Listen to the sound of my voice and allow yourself to experience whatever images may appear to you. Remember to breathe deeply. When I clap my hands, you can open your eyes and emerge from this trance. Now imagine you're at a party at a bar. You're at a party at a bar and you're wearing a fun outfit. You look great. Did you do something different with your hair? Nice. No, it looks good. Really. But now you're stepping to the bar and you realize you don't know anyone here. But that's fine. The bartender is responsive and you have plenty of space to enjoy your favorite drink. That's when you realize you're going a little too fast and you need to pace yourself. Now instead of another drink, you do something nice for yourself and you order a cup of water. So responsible. Picture the cup in your hands, a clear plastic cup. It's small and it's filled with cool water. There are ridges on the side, a texture that gives you deep comfort. One that says, hold tightly, for soon you will be healed. Think about the cool, clear water, that pure elixir of life and restoration. Think about how it will feel trickling down your throat, like a quiet creek in the secluded woods. Imagine it coating and transforming your insides, turning all this poison inside of you into piss. Piss that will leave your body and drive out everything that makes you bad inside. Imagine flushing it all away and achieving your full potential. Now as you bring the cup of cool, clear water to your lips, it's accidentally knocked out of your hand by Mila Kunis, star of Friends with Benefits and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Water is all over your shirt. It actually doesn't feel bad, but you're embarrassed because you're sure that everyone around you just saw what happened. Imagine yourself hurriedly wiping off your face with cocktail napkins as Mila Kunis approaches you. I'm so sorry, what were you drinking? Was it a Jim Beam? I'll get you another, she insists. You tell her it's not a big deal, that it was just water, not Jim Beam. And she looks at you like you're lying, which makes you feel like you were lying somehow, even though you weren't. She waves the bartender over and she says, some Jim Beam on the rocks. Picture your eyes slowly coming into focus. Your throat is suddenly dry, and you whisper weakly, hey, are you Mila Kunis? She continues to stare at you, but she nods at your question. You aren't sure if the nod meant yes or what, but you just watched Black Swan last week, so you're pretty sure you know what Mila Kunis looks like. The drinks come and you want to be polite, so you accept and take a long sip. Do you want to get out of here for a second? Now imagine you're outside the bar. The streetlights are dim, there's barely anyone out at this hour. No stars shine overhead. A man walking his dog passes by and does a quick double take at you and your new friend, Mila Kunis, star of Jupiter Ascending and Oz the Great and Powerful. Then he shakes his head as if to say, no, it couldn't be. He will hurry home and look at pictures of Mila Kunis for 30 minutes, trying to remember if that was her. The night air feels cold on your nose. She stares at you as she offers you a flask that she's pulled out of her purse. When you decline, you realize you've offended her. Do you even drink Jim Beam? You nod as if to say, yes, all the time. I love it. I love the warm feeling it gives me in my chest with each sip. I love that it's aged for at least twice the typical standard of other bourbons, giving it the smooth taste of an authentic straight Kentucky bourbon. I love its 200-year history dating back to the early days of America. But she doesn't see any of that because it's dark. and you can barely speak. Your throat is so dry. I worked at a Jim Beam warehouse for 2 years shooting those commercials while I stocked and transported barrels of bourbon. Everyone always makes fun of those commercials. They all think I don't know anything about bourbon, that I haven't really worked a day in my life. But that's bullshit. I was there every day for 2 years, learning the craft and paying my dues. I'm still happily paying my dues in that world. Now you look down and you see her hands. She's fiddling with the zipper on her purse, and you notice her hands, cracked and scarred, leathery and tough. They're workers' hands, calloused and thick, heavy with the weight of experience. You know what the problem is? She asks you, stepping closer. No one gets me. These goddamn actors don't know what it's like to really, truly dedicate themselves to a craft that actually means something. You start to agree, but she cuts you off. Acting isn't real. Movies aren't real. Aging and bottling authentic Kentucky bourbon, that's the only thing that's real to me. I don't expect you to understand. Not many people can appreciate the warm feeling it gives you in your chest with each sip, or the fact that Jim Beam's bourbon is aged for at least twice the typical standard of other bourbons, giving it the smooth taste of an authentic straight Kentucky bourbon. Did you know that each barrel of Jim Beam carries on the nearly 200-year tradition of quality, dating back to the early days of America? Seriously, it's true, and it's important to me. Have you ever dedicated your life to creating something beautiful? You don't seem like the type. No offense. Finally, you muster up the courage to speak through a dry mouth. Why did you take me here? She looks at you as if she's hurt. Then she reaches up to your face, and you feel her awful, sandpapery touch on your cheek. You catch a whiff of apple-infused Jim Beam on her breath, and you remember the commercial where Mila Kunis reads the recipe to make a Jim Beam apple and soda. It's simple. It's just Jim Beam apple with soda water poured over ice, served with a lemon wedge. But in the commercial, she introduces it by saying, Jim Beam and apple have come together to make history. And for a moment you wonder if that's true, if something so small and frivolous could truly make history, the same way a man landing on the moon or a black woman riding in the front of a bus makes history. You're too drunk and cold to answer your own question, so you ask her again. Why did you take me here? She steps away from you and she turns around to open the door back into the bar. Before she goes back in, she says, Don't tell anyone I was here. No one would believe you anyway.